So the subject for this video is forgiveness from the perspective of Advaita. But I also want to touch on the subject of forgiveness from the perspective of Christianity, so that you get an idea of how there are some similarities here that are quite interesting. First of all, we need to understand that Advaita means unity, oneness, but not only refers to the experience of oneness as an experience where you see everything as one, subject, object, everything. But also, Advaita means oneness in the sense that which perceives through the mind-body system, which is consciousness, that perception is intrinsically, essentially your true nature and is present in every sentient being throughout the universe, because it's undifferentiated, and then you cannot say, oh, this is my consciousness. It's just consciousness. So there is only one consciousness, and many sentient beings, which are mind-body organisms of different kinds and species. So that sets immediately the context for the subject of forgiveness from the perspective of Advaita. But let us jump a little bit into Christianity. What Christianity says about forgiveness is quite interesting. According to Christianity, forgiveness is kind of the ultimate act of surrendering of the ego. It is considered a very, very high integrity act when you forgive. As Christ went through the crucifixion, it would have not meant anything if he had gone to the other side full of anger. Why did this to me, right? It was his capacity to forgive in the Christian context what gives to the crucifixion its ultimate meaning and reveals its Christ's greatness. So forgiveness is in Christianity something of extraordinary integrity. And why this is so? Well, to begin with, it's not easy, right? Anyone that has been injured in one way or another by somebody else knows perfectly how difficult it is to forgive. So in the Christian paradigm, forgiveness is considered something so difficult that actually you can only attain it when the injury is big enough. You can only attain it through divine grace, through God's grace. So this perspective of Christianity about forgiveness is exactly what opens the door to make it possible. Because when you have been injured, you realize that I can't do this. Yeah, this is beyond my human power. So I can only attain it through grace. And then it comes, if there is the willingness, and that is the part that the human has to do, by having the willingness to forgive, then you pray for forgiveness to happen in your mind-body system. And then grace can come in, because grace is possible when you consent to it. Otherwise, it would violate the law of free will, which controls the relative world, the world of duality. So let's go back to Advaita. From the perspective of Advaita, there is only one consciousness and infinite or innumerable mind-body organisms of all kind and species. Why we injure each other? Why somebody hurts another person? When intrinsically, essentially, they are one as consciousness, right? The reason why this happens is because the mind-body organisms throughout the cosmos are misprogrammed. So misprogramming the mind-body system leads to acts that lack integrity and damage other people. But it's not a problem with the essence or the true nature of the other person. It is a problem in their programming, the programming of the mind-body organism. So this helps a lot, because when you have clarity about this, then forgiveness can happen. You realize also that your mind-body organism is not programmed optimally either, right? The imperfection in the mind-body system is unavoidable. You can perfect it, yes, you can keep on perfecting, and that's the embodiment process, right? You can keep on perfecting the mind-body organism, and it's a good idea to do it. And I have explained in previous videos why and how to do it. But there is no doubt that imperfection is part of duality. And therefore, when you see that your mind-body organism is misprogrammed and the mind-body organism of all the other beings is also misprogrammed, it's much easier to forgive. Not only others, but also yourself. Because you cannot expect that your mind-body organism will be perfectly programmed. And I have explained what these misprograms are about. They are distorted thoughts, crooked beliefs, false beliefs, negative emotions stored in the mind-body system, and so on. Distorted, conflictive motivations or drives, and so on. So the mind-body organism will never be perfect. No mind-body organism in the universe is perfect. You can only perfect it. And in a way, the whole process of self-development, it's about that. Until you reach awakening, and then it turns into something else. It turns into improving and optimizing the programs in the mind-body organism, not self-development, not my development, because you have realized that you are consciousness, that you are not the mind-body system. So the spiritual path has 3 stages: the self-development path, the self-development section, the awakening, and then the embodiment. It is in the embodiment phase that it's much easier to forgive, because now you have realized that it's all about lack of integrity is all about misprograms. Damaging others or oneself is just misprogramming. It's ultimately innocent. Then it becomes much easier to forgive. But awakening is necessary to make it easier. Well, everything becomes easier after awakening. The whole embodiment process is much easier than the self-development process. Because the self-development process, where you're trying to change your own programs, I mean, what I am, is based on a lie, first of all, that you are the mind-body organism, which debilitates the power of the process. And then the ego that is still posing as you has, as psychology has found, powerful defenses. And I tell you, I have worked in psychotherapy for decades, and I know the defenses of the ego are outstanding, extraordinary. The capacity of the ego to defend itself and to do not let go, it's impressive. So once awakening happens, then the defenses of the ego begin to drop. It's not that the ego dissolves entirely, but a part of it does dissolve. It is seen through as a fake, and then these defenses begin to crumble. So when you are faced during the embodiment process with a situation that you need to forgive, it will be much easier. That's why awakening is so important. So attain awakening, get it, right? Don't wait, because it will speed up your spiritual evolution immensely. So there are so many things you can do to wake up, but one of them is the awakening protocol, which I have mentioned before in previous videos, and I leave you a link below this video in the description so that you can see if that is something that could help you. Another aspect of forgiveness is that from the perspective of Advaita, the idea I have to forgive is crooked, because that I doesn't exist. So it's not the doer. You see, if there is no self here, little self here, who is the doer? Who is the doer that is going to forgive? Where is that? So you realize after awakening that there is no self here that is doing anything. The doing is happening. Or you can assign it to consciousness. Consciousness is the doer, if you want. So when that is clear, then coming to a situation that you need to forgive, you will ask yourself, where is this I that is going to forgive? Is not even here. And that also opens a door in the Advaita paradigm to forgive through the surrendering technique. Because you realize, okay, there is no doer here, so the only one that does something is consciousness. That is the doer. So what you do is through the surrendering technique, you surrender the need to forgive, the desire to forgive, the the anger that is preventing to forgive, you surrender those elements to the divine, especially the anger. And then consciousness can act now on the in the mind-body system and reprogram it, change programs that are underneath the anger. And by changing those programs, the anger begins to dissolve, and one day you don't even realize it, the anger is gone, and forgiveness has happened. So the surrendering technique that is based on the idea that you are not the doer, and therefore the embodiment process has to be done by consciousness, the surrendering technique is very useful for this, to forgive. So I also use the surrendering technique during the coaching sessions that I offered online to help my student to learn to use the tool, because the surrendering technique is a tool, and it's a powerful tool, but you need to learn to use it. It's an evolutionary tool. It is extremely powerful to trigger, to deepen the embodiment and to change the mind-body system, even before awakening. So during the coaching sessions, I work with my students online to help them to use the surrendering technique together, and releasing and letting go of stuff that is preventing them to embody or to wake up. So I also leave you my email below in case you want to contact me and you're interested in having coaching sessions one-on-one. So I hope this helps you to realize that Advaita, the path of Advaita is very effective to come to a point where you feel reconciled with life in all its aspects, with all its beings, including oneself, including this mind-body organism that may have made mistakes in the past and act from ignorance, misprograms, and to forgive that your mind-body organism for not being perfect, right? Because it's not supposed to be perfect. It is supposed to be perfected, which is different. Okay, have a good one. Enjoy the path. It can be enjoyed. Take care.